Hey everybody, it's me Jill and welcome to Jill Informed. This is the recap of The Real Housewives of New York City, Season 13, Episode 4, Putting the Tiff in Tiffany's. Well, since last week was a to be continued, we are picking up right where we left off at the restaurant in Greenport. Sonia is a raging trash box at this point. Hey, side note, do you guys remember, I think it was at Dorinda's house in the Berkshires, when Sonia discovered that the medication she was taking made her really, really loopy, like much more than she ordinarily would be when she drank. I feel like it turned out to just be like water pills or something. It was something very basic. Yeah, and so I'm wondering now if she took one of those, or was that whole thing last year just a ruse? I don't know, but it is weird that she was drinking with everybody and then almost like in the blink of an eye, she became very, very intoxicated. Anyway, that's where we're at now. The very, very intoxicated stage of Sonia Morgan. Okay, so to get us all up to speed, Ebony has gotten a mortgage with Chase, JP Morgan, and Ramona has suggested that if she went with Wells Fargo, she would have gotten a better deal. This, of course, causes Sonia to fly into a blind rage and begin screaming, "Wells Fargo! That's not JP Morgan!" Okay, so now Ramona is yelling, "Stop the drinking!" Sonia, "Don't blame me on the drinking. It's my family." Ramona, "Hello? Your family hasn't paid your bills." In case you're wondering if all this screaming is making it difficult for the others to enjoy their dinner, no, they're just going about it as though it's another normal day, which maybe to the housewives it is. So then Ramona said, "Why are you so concerned for JP Morgan? What's wrong with you, bitch? What's wrong with you?" Leah's like, "Yep." Ramona's yelling, "Get real." Ramona, I should say, is now up on her feet, standing behind Leah and Ebony, who are eating. She's also very animated when she says, "Get real." Well, that shuts Sonia up for about 2 seconds before she says, "Guess what? You don't have anything to rely on. You have fake-ass friends. You don't have any friends. You don't even have Mario." And then she picks up a roll or some sort of food and throws it at Ramona. In Leah's confessional, she's like, "Sonia is pulling a Leah in Newport." Of course, we get the flashback to Leah throwing a ravioli at Ramona's face. And then Leah saying, "I actually totally understand Ramona, because why are you defending the Morgans to the death?" Anyway, Sonia's like, "I have a family. I have friends. And I have a solid future." Okay. I mean, as drunken fights go, to be fighting about different banking institutions and your financial future is, I must say, one of the more interesting ones. Ramona leaves, walks out. She can't stand it anymore. Luann follows her, and Luann's trying to kind of reason with Ramona, and she said, "She's gone off the deep end, and you're provoking her. You know that. You had a brother that drank. You can't engage." So then Ramona said, "I can't hang around with drunks." Luann goes, "You can. I can't. This is bad for me. That's why I wanted to be out of the room with you. It brings me so much sadness." And then Luann really kind of breaks down, and she's like, I can't be around this. And she goes to go wait in the car. Ramona goes back in. She apologizes to Sonia. She comes around behind her and she gives her a hug, kisses her on the cheek. "You know I love you, Sonia. I'm sorry." Sonia goes, "You said some stupid ass things." Like she's gonna remember that. Ramona just said, "Okay, maybe I did. I apologize. Let's go home now." As they're walking out, Sonia's like, "I hate you." "Well, I love you, Sonia." And then there's like one final, "I hate you." Then Ramona's like, "Oh, your price tag is sticking out." Some things never change. Okay, it is the next morning. It's 10:30, and Guys, we are checking in with all the ladies. Luann is in her room, standing before the mirror, twirling a baton. And I say this because it is never mentioned again. There's not a point to the baton. We don't know what the baton is there for. It's just happening. And we're just going with it. Ebony is in her room calling her mom, talking to her mom, Gloria. Ramona and Sonia are just waking up. I brought you coffee. You had a rough night. And Leah is in her room and she's FaceTiming with her sister, Sarah. She's like, did you talk to mom yet about grandma? And Sarah said, yeah, mom wants me to go there and have some time alone with grandma to tell her how I feel about her. Leah said, yeah, I know. She wants you and Daniel to do that, to have this closure, but she's never said anything to me about it. Ebony is also talking about her grandmother with her mom. And I guess her grandmother is on a feeding tube right now, unfortunately. And her mom, Gloria, said that she's living with quantity, but not quality. Her quality of life is not good. And this is kind of sad, but sort of cute that Gloria said, I guess the decision is upon them whether to pull the feeding tube or not. And Gloria said, and I decided I'm going to leave that decision up to you, Ebony. And she's like, well, I'm not doing your dirty work for you, Mom. So yeah, it's sad, but they have a cute relationship with each other. In Ramona's room, Sonia's like, what happened last night? And Ramona said, well, you called your friend. And she said, William, yeah. So she remembered that. Yeah. And Ebony said she was getting refinancing. And I said, oh, don't go with Chase. Wells Fargo has better rates. And you went ballistic. Sonia's like, yes, of course. Why would you send money away from the family? Why would you even say Wells Fargo around me? It's my daughter's future. Okay, Ramona kind of said this in her confessional, but I doubt that Ebony's mortgage is what makes or breaks Quincy's future. But Sonia's undying loyalty to the Morgan family, it really is hard to understand. She is divorced from that family, and yes, it's her daughter's heritage or whatever, but I don't think they're being overly generous with Sonia. So either Sonia feels some kind of guilt from, I don't know, how the marriage ended or something, or this is just Sonia being desperate and clinging to this multi-billion-dollar family. I don't know, but it's uncomfortably desperate. So then Sonia started talking about how her family moved away. She said, you know, my family moved. And Ramona said, yeah, to Tennessee, I know. You were heartbroken. You felt abandoned. And Sonia said, yeah. So you guys are my family now. You, Lou, Marley. And then Ramona said, something like your daughter's call. That also hit you very hard. So I don't know what that was about, other than the fact that she did say that her daughter moved out and got her own apartment. So maybe that's what the call was about. Sonia said, yep, she's got her own place. That's tough. And also because I just recently signed everything over. She's of age now, and I just put everything into her name now. So if that's true, why is she worried about her daughter's future? It kind of seems like her daughter is set. Ramona is wondering if, last night was the culmination of all of that. She's like, your family moved out and your daughter moved out and you're alone in COVID, making you feel more lonely than ever. What's your biggest fear? And Sonia said, I don't want to be alone the rest of my life. I want to be with someone. Ramona said, I think when Luann got Garth on the phone, that hit something in here. Sonia, ugh, Garth. She still could not tolerate him. That Garth is driving me nuts. Ramona, bingo. Anyway, Ramona's like, yes, with all that, you're in pain and maybe you have one too many drinks. So they hug. And I mean, honestly, it is sweet. As sweet as a scene with Ramona can be, it was sweet because, they're really friends. And I can tell. Okay, so tonight, the party theme is Ramona's choice. She said the first night, Leah got her choice, and that was the Burning Man party, which, believe it or not, Ramona actually thought was kind of fun. And she said, I had a good time with that. I really did. But tonight it's my turn, and I'm going to do something totally opposite from Burning Man. So Ramona's theme is breakfast at Tiffany's. She wants it to be elegant. She wants them to dress up and have a very fancy dinner. So anyway, at this point, Ramona's kind of rushing around, making sure the table setting is right and all that, and putting flowers in place. And she's calling out Michelle's name so much that at this point, I bet Michelle wishes there was a Diane to help her out. So Luann comes down, and as Ramona is telling Luann that she had a really good talk with Sonia the night before, and she's telling her about it a little bit, Leah walks up, and Ramona turns around and said, I'm having a private conversation. Could you come back in like 5 minutes? And Leah's like, fine. Well, that got Leah's nose out of joint. I kind of understand. And because Leah is already feeling kind of upset about her grandmother, she just got off the phone with her sister and all that was weighing on her. She's like, okay, yeah, well, I would have really loved an embrace, but instead I gotta get out of here. So she's kind of just wandering around the house, mumbling, and she's pissed off. She runs into Michelle and she's like, how can you stand working for Ramona? She's such a dumb fucking bitch. I bet it must really be difficult. And Michelle's like, oh, I love you, Leah. 2 seconds later, Michelle, can you help me take this garbage out, please? So now Leah and Sonia are together, and Leah tells her that mentally and emotionally, she's just like with her grandmother right now. And having to deal with Ramona is too much. So now Ebony comes down, and Ramona wants her to see the table. And I guess maybe she's even showing her the 2 different kind of napkin rings she has and seeing which one Ebony thinks she should use. And Leah sees this and she said, oh, that's interesting. Ebony walks in the room and you're nice to her. Ramona, yeah, because I was having a private conversation. Leah, you're such a bitch. It's insane. I'm not going to get the oysters, by the way, because I'm not going to be treated like a second-class citizen. Ebony, what happened? Leah's like, you haven't been dealing with her as long as I have. She's a psycho who lies about having COVID tests. Okay, so Leah is in a bad place right now. And I think she probably should have stayed home to be with her grandmother. I know that wouldn't have been good. And, it's only her second year and she can't really miss a girls' trip with Housewives. But I mean, it's life or death with her grandmother. I know that her grandmother has passed away. I saw that on Instagram. I don't know if it happens during this season or after the season wrapped, but I'm just thinking right now, I really do hope that she got to see her grandmother before she died. But she's miserable here. Okay, now we see Garth coming up to the front door. Side note, now I'm wondering if nobody can hear Ebony. She has been trying to get Leah to answer the question, what happened, for like 10 minutes now. And she keeps getting ignored. Again. Leah, see, here's the thing. Leah can't really answer because nothing horrible happened. Ramona didn't do anything horrible. It's just that she dismissed Leah at a time when Leah was already feeling some kind of way about her grandmother dying. So Leah just keeps saying, she's a bitch, she's obnoxious, she's insane. But she's not telling Ebony what Ramona did to make her act like this right now. I think that's because Ramona didn't do anything that warrants that kind of a response. That stuff is about the grandmother. Ebony asks again, and Leah just keeps saying, she's a fake bitch. She's phony. Well, that had nothing to do with what happened this morning. This is the real problem between Leah and Ramona. Ramona treats her like a kid, even still, even though she said she wouldn't. She does. And when she does, Leah acts like a kid. It's a vicious cycle for those two. And, Leah's got mommy issues, and Ramona pushes all those buttons. Meanwhile, poor Garth is still at the front door. He's like kind of knocking now. And Sonia comes to the top of the stairs and she sees him. Oh, Jesus. Luann, get the door. So Luann walks in. Oh, look who's here. Garth. Hey, Garth. She introduces him to Sonia. This is my friend Sonia. In her confessional, Sonia goes, oh, geez, I'm happy for Luann finding love or a big dick or whatever. But geez, he's not the greatest thing since sliced bread. Then she introduces him to Ebony. I mean, he is a good looking guy. I don't think he's like stunning, but he's blonde and like big, tall guy. To me, he's like a subpar version of Alexander Skarsgård, who, if you haven't watched True Blood, do yourself a favor. He's like just gorgeous in that. And for those of you who also watch my Real Housewives of New Jersey recaps, he's also a vampire. And you know how I feel about vampires. Anyway, he's just okay looking to me. I mean, I get the attraction, but I don't think he doesn't like knock me out. So anyway, Ebony goes, oh, no wonder Luann's so happy. And everybody laughs. Then Ramona comes in the room and she goes, oh, did you grow taller overnight? Everyone's a little flirty. It's fun. Then they go out to the backyard and have their workout class with Garth. It's just Luann, Ramona, and Sonia, believe it or not. For as much as she hates Garth, yeah, she went out there too. Ebony tells us that no, she's just not into that. And her workout is her glam squad. So she's going to have her like hair and makeup done. I'm not sure what Leah is doing at this point, but I'm afraid that she's going to come out there because I think she's going to work out and she's going to see that they started without her and be mad. I don't know. Oh no, okay, she's getting her glam done with Ebony. Ebony asks her, so what are you going to do about this Ramona situation? And she said, I came up with a great idea on how I'm going to deal with Ramona. I am going to take a vow of silence until 6 p.m., which I guess that's maybe when the party is starting. Outside, Sonia's getting a little salty with Garth. In Luann's confessional, she said, Sonia's not happy with herself right now. And there's a lot of parts of my life, my cabaret career, and now I have a nice boyfriend. There's a lot of things I can understand she'd be jealous of. Back downstairs, Leah asks Ebony if she will talk to the girls for her. Let them know what's going on with her vow of silence till 6 p.m. Okay, now all the ladies are off to the oyster farm. And I guess it's chilly out because Ramona's running around looking for coats. So then you hear Ramona, Leah! And, she's not talking. So Ebony said, she's right here, Ramona. Ramona goes, oh, do you need a heavier coat for outside? And she's like, now she's yelling Sonia, and Sonia's like, right here, babe. Do you need a heavier coat? And Sonia's like, no, I have my coat. But Ramona's like, I brought extra coats in case someone needs them. Finally, she notices that Leah's just sort of gesturing, and she's like, oh, are you okay? You can't talk? Is it Longitis? Oh, God, it just occurred to me, you guys. I don't know if I get the channel that Housewife All-Star thing was on, where they all went to Turks and Caicos together, a few women from different cities. But Ramona is one of them, and so is Teresa. I would love to see a conversation between the two of them. Do you have Longitis? No, I'm just eating a McTashin apple. Oh, it's almost like it's a different language. It could be a fun game, like to try and figure out what word they're trying to say. Anyway, this time the word is laryngitis. Ebony answers and said, no, she's just not speaking until 6 p.m. So if you need something like in an emergency, let me know. I can't believe Ebony is going along with this. It's so childish of Leah, but Ebony almost is making it sound sane and normal that this grown woman has just decided not to speak for a few hours. Ebony is just explaining it as she's just doing a little self-care. And Ramona's like, oh, I'll say a prayer for her. Should I light a candle? Oh, no, she wants to light some sage. Oh, God, okay. Sonia is also totally on board. Yep, I've done it before, taken a vow of silence. I don't know. Ramona is very concerned about what she should be doing here now that Leah is not speaking. So, like I said, she's like, I'll say a prayer. Should I light some sage? And then when she says, like, should I light some sage? Ebony's like, you could light some sage. Okay. It couldn't hurt. Ramona goes, well, what am I supposed to do? Just like ignore her? And Sonia's like, yes, just leave her alone. So all the ladies get in the van. Luann is talking into her phone again. And now I realize what she was doing on the last trip when she was quietly talking into her phone. She wasn't on the phone with someone. She speaks her text messages. So she's replying to Garth. I forgot to tell you this earlier when they were doing the workout. Garth is going to be making a lamb curry for the ladies. I don't know if it's for that evening or what. Is he going to the breakfast at Tiffany's party? I don't know. I didn't think guys were going to be at that, but whatever. He's making a lamb curry. So you just see Luann talking into the phone quietly. Well, I prefer lamb, but if it has to be chicken, so be it. ? That wasn't a question, was it? Moving on, Ramona yells, lamb! Tell him I want lamb. Luann, I told him that. Sonia, did you give him money too, Mommy? So bitter. Ebony goes, stop, Sonia, leave her alone. But she does kind of start laughing. So now all the ladies are talking about Garth again. Ebony, he's a good-looking man, Lou. I mean, he's not my speed, but Luann, oh, I think he's anybody's speed. Right, Leah? Leah is in the front of the van reading a book because, that was silence. Ramona keeps going on and on about what nice eyes and smile Garth has. Girl, he's 7 feet tall. Nobody's looking at his smile. Anyway, Ebony says that she's not into the Adonis type. Sonia, me neither. I like a bit of a belly and less hair. He has a lot of hair, she says to Luann. Ebony goes, oh yeah, full head of hair. You said you made it past that bald thing. Bald thing? Is that what we're calling Tom now? Sonia goes, she was married to my bald guy, by the way. We see a flashback to Ramona asking Sonia, when were you last with him? It was just right before Thanksgiving, right? And Sonia's like, yeah, right before Thanksgiving. Ramona tells Carol, they had a sexual relationship, Sonia and Tom. Did I mention this conversation is taking place on a yacht during Tom and Luann's engagement party? Yeah, that's what you want your friends talking about during your engagement party. Anyway, Luann goes, he was never your guy, Sonia. You had sex with him. That's it. So let's get that straight. I'm tired of your BS, Sonia. Okay. This turns into a little bit of a shouting match. Sonia says he was my guy. And you've stolen a couple of my other guys, too. Harry Dubin. Oh, no. Harry Dubin needs to be retired, ladies. All of you. That lecherous old man does not deserve to be talked about on The Real Housewives of New York City. Let us never speak of him again. Please. Luann, you have it so confused in your little brain. Your brain isn't right now, okay? Ebony, little brain? Luann, a lot of guys know that you're friends with benefits, okay? Sonia, yeah. I love that she owns it, by the way. I'm a woman in my 50s, yeah. If I'm friends with benefits, so be it. I dare you to slut shame me. Like, that attitude I can get behind. Luann, so how far are you going to go with that? Now, Leah may be silent, but it doesn't mean that she can't text. So she sends a text to Ebony, and it says, Lou is being so hard on Sonia. Ebony texts Leah back, not a good look. So then Ebony decides to say, let me just say this, and I'm probably out of line, but I love you, Lou, so let me just tell you something about yourself. Luann, you're going to tell me the truth about me? I can't wait to hear this. Be careful. Ebony, no, I'm not going to be careful. I'm going to tell you the truth. I think Ebony needs to take a little bit of her own advice because this approach is not exactly opening Luann up to receiving what you're about to tell her. I feel like Ebony is usually more diplomatic than this. Side note, Ebony pronounces Sonia Sonia, so at least she's got that going for her with Luann. So Ebony said, Sonia had a whole breakdown last night. We all saw it, and to me, It seems like it's rooted in, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sonia, I don't think this woman feels high self-worth or that people value and appreciate her. So I think this narrative, you're a one-night stand, men don't take you seriously, you're a trash woman not to be dated. Oh, I didn't say that. Not in those words, but that was definitely what you were saying. Sonia, these aren't one-night stands. These are my relationships that I treasure, and I don't want to see them in her backyard or your backyard either. I hope she doesn't treasure those relationships because that feels even sadder than I thought for her. Luann goes, then what's all this jealousy with Garth? Are you jealous that I have a boyfriend? Sonia, and guys, this does break my heart a little bit. She says, no, I'm jealous that you spend more time with him than me. Whenever you're with a guy, it's like, Sonia who? God. So Luann goes, what do you mean? You ghosted me for the last 10 months. Which, that's fair. Sonia said, it wasn't for a guy. Luann, well, now that we got that off of our chests, they say you hurt the ones that you love the most. Sonia, I don't want to hurt you at all. I want you to be happy, Lou. Then Luann hugs Sonia. I only want you to be happy. You know I'm always here for you. Sonia, I'm here for you too. Men come and go. Everybody's like, these women, why do I even get involved? They go at it, and then they're like hugging and crying and holding each other. The thing is, though, I think that what Ebony said is what got them to that point a lot sooner. Ebony definitely says the right things. I just think for the first time, like, she started her approach a little weird. Okay, so now we arrive in North Fork. It's 2:30 p.m., and as all the women are exiting the van, Chris, the driver, is helping them down, and Leah says thank you to him. And then she freaks out because she broke her vow of silence. So she starts going, and she's making these crazy gestures. Nobody can figure out what she's saying. Ramona, you want to vomit? Ebony goes, I don't even know what you're saying right now. She's pointing to herself. Then she's pointing at the driver like, I spoke to him. And Luann goes, you and Chris had sex? No. I mean, the funny thing is, like, she wasn't trying to be funny. She goes, had sex? No. Like that. Oh my God, everybody's dying. When does she think that would have happened? On their way up while he was driving? Plus also, why would Leah be so frantic about it right now? Oh no, I have to tell you guys right now, me and Chris had sex. Oh, God. You could just hear Ebony. Oh, Chris got a kick out of that one. In Ramona's confessional, she said, I thought coming to an oyster farm would be fun for everybody and relaxing. I mean, who doesn't like oysters? Me? Yeah. Listen, I know I have the palate of a finicky 4-year-old, but oysters are one of those foods that I look at that and go, who was the first person that saw that and thought, I bet it tastes good. Let me put this slimy blob of gelatinous goo in my mouth and swallow it. No. I'll stick with my Kraft macaroni and cheese. Okay, so now the ladies are learning how to shuck oysters. Ebony, I thought, was going to be a little bit better at it because wasn't she doing that as a Hooters girl? But no, it turns out Luann is a natural. She's like popping them open like nothing. Ramona is struggling too much, and Ramona doesn't like seeing the oysters before they're cleaned up, even though she is an oyster fiend. She loves them, but not in this state. So she's like, are these the ones we're going to eat? And he goes, no, we have others. So they go to this lovely little table that's set up very, very pretty, like a tea party, but it's outside and there's just pillows to sit on. And once they sit down, a miracle occurs. Ah, Leah has found her voice. Yes. Couldn't make it till 6 o'clock, I guess. She just said, I'm sorry if I'm just struggling with the grandmother stuff. And everyone's like, oh, that's okay. We're here for you. Don't worry about it. So Leah wants to tell them everything she's been thinking in her head the whole time she was in her silent mode. Oh, boy. But I guess maybe she was kidding because she goes, I'm not going to rehash everything. It's just, I'm feeling a little nervous about tonight when Heather comes because I don't know her very well, she said. And she talks about all of you in the press all the time. And now is she going to say nasty things about me? I feel like I have to protect myself. Or is she going to talk about Ebony now? Okay, side note. First of all, Leah, you have said nasty things about all of these women in your confessionals, which is bigger than the press, if you ask me. Because the press that everybody talks about, you mean like Reality Blurb and the Daily Mail or Page Six. People around the country don't see those things as much as they see this show. So you, in your confessionals, saying horrible things about these women is probably a lot worse than what Heather's doing on her podcast. Just saying. The way you talk about Ramona, even to her face, come on. And also, by the way, these other women that Heather has been talking about, they've done the exact same thing in their confessionals, talking about you and each other. So, I mean, I think I understand Ramona when she's like, it's a podcast, who cares? Because it comes with the territory. You're a housewife. This is what you do. Honestly, if Heather's bully pulpit is her podcast now, I promise you that's a smaller audience than the audience that watches this show. Anyway, she says she's worried about her. And Ramona said, she has a good heart. She's a good mother. She's been married a long time. Ebony's like, can we stop with the good mother stuff? That doesn't give you a pass to be a liar. Yeah. And neither does a long marriage. Ramona, listen, she's staying over. Sonia, she's staying over in the lower level? I think the only thing that could be worse is if she found out that Garth was also staying over. Anyway, she's like, in the lower level? And Ramona goes, wherever she wants. Leah, she's not staying in the room next to me, and I'm not sharing a bathroom with her. Ramona goes, okay, I'll put her downstairs. Leah goes, she won't care. She'll be like, it's all good, Mama. And she was. So they go back to the house, and then each of them goes to their rooms to get ready, glam up for the breakfast at Tiffany's party. Okay, everyone is giving us their best Audrey Hepburn. Hair up in buns, black dress, long strings of pearls, gloves. And Heather walks in the front door with her luggage just as Sonia's coming down the stairs. So they say hello, and Sonia's like, I have no bobby pins. I don't know if my hair's staying up. She was complaining earlier that Ramona didn't have hairspray either, but so Heather's like, I have bobby pins in my bag. Don't worry about it. Now Ramona comes and greets Heather, and she takes her down to the lower level. Of course, she doesn't take one of her bags or anything. Instead, she goes, you got that right. You're a strong girl. I remember that about you. In Heather's confessional, she said, I walk in and I felt it was a bit cold as ice, and now I'm being banished to the dungeon. But really, that's okay because I don't mind a little separation. Now, Ebony, Leah, and Luann come down in their versions of Audrey Hepburn. Leah is the only one who doesn't have a little black dress on. She's got, I guess it's vintage Versace. She looks good. It's just a different, like Ebony said, I love your interpretation of it. Like she's got her hair down, but she's got the gloves and the cigarette holder and stuff like that. Everybody looks good. I actually think it's kind of a fun thing to do. So now Sonia whispers to Ramona, I don't want to drink in front of Heather. So she's like, okay, gonna help her. Heather comes upstairs now in her Audrey Hepburn look, and she's being introduced to Ebony, and she's talking to the ladies. Leah is just sitting on the couch ignoring her. She said, I'm not going to be fake and phony. I'm not into that. So Heather and Ebony are chatting. Heather was asking Ebony where she's from originally and stuff like that. And in Ebony's confessional, she said, I will tell you this, what Heather did do was ask me about myself. These questions never roll off the lips of these other ladies. And I thought it was really refreshing. Now they're all sitting down on the couch, and Ramona's in the kitchen trying not to be disgusting to Eli, one of the hospitality staff, because he's got a tray and he's pouring shots, and she goes, don't give everybody a shot. Are you crazy? These girls can't drink. Okay, let me take a deep breath. Okay. You didn't hear right, and I apologize. Oh, you didn't hear right. Because we were all excitable. I was supposed to get the shot. Not everybody else. She goes, because 3 of these girls can't drink. So meanwhile, Luann says, so Leah, are you still doing your podcast? In her confessional, Luann said, it's not gaslighting, it's just lighting the match. Leah knows exactly what Luann is doing, and she is on board. She said, no, I haven't done it in about a year and a half. I'm sick of talking. And people kind of laugh. And she goes, I did it for 5 years. That's a long time. Back in the kitchen, Ramona and Eli. Okay, so we don't want to waste all these. You're going to have to pour 2 back. This is expensive. In a restaurant, it would cost $170 each. Each per shot? $170? Then she goes, or $70 or something. Okay, sorry, $70 is still an insane amount, but I do love how she came down $100 immediately. In other words, Ramona, you don't know what this cost. But she's like, we have to pour 2 back. So Eli goes, well, okay, but it's already been chilled. Ramona, okay, here's what we'll do. Save them for me. I don't care. I'll never know the difference. We have some people who can't, what is the word? Handle their alcohol. Maybe I'll just do 2 shots right now. And this lovely man said, no, just pace yourself. The night is still early. Oh my God. But she listens to him and she goes, okay, I'll just have 1. So cute. And then back to the living room with the ladies. Luann, to Ebony now. Do you have a podcast? Just come out with it, Luann. Ebony does. And she said, mine just launched 2 days ago. Luann, you just lost it 2 days ago? So Heather goes, no, launched. It launched 2 days ago. We all have, well, I have a podcast too that I launched about 3 weeks ago. Poor Heather. Heather just offered up this information because she thought they were having a normal conversation. She didn't know it was all a setup to get her to mention her podcast so that they could easily transition into you talking crap about these ladies. Anyway, Ramona comes out and she goes, dinner is served. So everybody goes to the dining table. She tells them they can sit wherever they want. Ramona even gives her phone to Eli. I don't need this because I'm going to be present. I want to enjoy my time with my real friends. Okay, well then what are you going to do with these ladies? Anyway, so the salads come out and Leah's like, what fork do I use? And then we have about 15 minutes of ladies yelling across the table at each other, outside in. So I'm pretty sure Leah will never ask that question again. Ramona tells everybody that the plates are from Tiffany's. And that's enough small talk. Leah said, so Heather, you have a podcast too? And we're off. Guys, I am torn between I'm super uncomfortable with this ambush and of course I want this night to be uncomfortable. Who wants to watch a bunch of friends sitting around chatting and having a nice dinner? So Heather says yes. Leah said, what do you talk about? You mean, who do you talk about? Heather said, I really talk about people that I find interesting, how their experiences have made them stronger, that kind of thing. Side note, didn't Leah say that she's not here for all the phony bullshit? Yet this whole phony bullshit right now is okay? Acting like you're genuinely interested in Heather's podcast? Anyway, Heather says to Luann, like you could be on, for example. Luann, I've already been on your podcast, apparently. Okay, all right. Grab the popcorn, guys. It's going down. Heather, you have? Luann, well, Leah saw. Leah, yeah, I saw something in the press about it. Heather, really? What did you see? Leah, you said that Luann had done hard drugs when you guys were in St. Bart's. It was recent, no? Now Heather's like, okay, all right, I see what's happening here. So she's, Heather's not a dummy, but she is caught off guard. So she said, yeah, okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about now. But the article didn't say anything about that at all. It was like a sensationalized headline, but there was nothing in the article about that. Leah, no, the article does say it. Heather, it doesn't say Luann. You keep saying I'm specifying Luann. I'm not specifying Luann. It doesn't say her name. Leah, it absolutely does. Oh my God. Heather, did you donate your blood plasma or not? That's about the level we're at here now. Leah says, personally, if somebody does drugs in front of me, I'm not telling anyone. Heather, me neither. Leah, you just did. Heather's like, Leah, listen, you can do you and I'll do me. Leah, if you doing you is telling about people's very private things, how is that you doing you? And now Leah starts reading from her phone. Yeah. Glad you came, Heather. Leah, I open the door. She's like, yeah, can I come in? She comes in. But then what was crazy was she brought me a joint. I'm like, hey, thanks, I appreciate it. Heather, yeah, that's not hard drugs. Leah, but I'm asleep. But stronger drugs came out. I remember saying to Luann, whoa, I'm not into this. Now what, Heather? Side note, a quick thank you to Bravo for having everyone involved here in updos and pearls. We do love a messy scene in costume. So Heather goes, yeah. Luann, what are you talking about? Ebony, in her confessional, said, so there's a reason why if you represent yourself in court, you have a bad lawyer. I wish I could represent Heather right now. I would tell her, keep quiet, let me do the talking, concede everything. So Heather goes, I was talking to somebody on my podcast, and it wasn't about you, Lou. It was about my experience. Okay. So ignore the fact that it was Lou that offered her drugs. This was all about how Heather felt about the drugs being offered to her. Yeah, you shouldn't be mad. It was my perspective. So Luann goes, who was the guest you had on that you were talking to about it? Carol Radziwill. Luann, oh, bitch. Heather goes, okay, we were reminiscing. In Luann's confessional, she said, whenever I see anything with Carol's name on it, I swipe. Bye-bye. Ratsville. Side note, this is the confessional where she's wearing her new top with the giant sleeves. Good to see that Luann still rocks a statement necklace. Leah's like, see, I don't care who's doing drugs. I don't care if you're shooting heroin in front of me. Now Heather said, well, it's a felony, so maybe you shouldn't shoot heroin. Luann, the felony is really that you're talking about me when you shouldn't be. Heather says to Leah, you really only want to read the bad stuff. There was also a lot of compliments in that. Yes, that Luann was very generous with her drugs. Ramona, just waking up now. Articles always get slanted to the negative. Leah, still on her phone. Wait, I just read something else right now. It's about Luann. Tell me it's not about Luann. It's about Luann again. I thought that was a real friendship, but nothing really I learned with Luann is genuine. Heather goes, yeah, that's true. Luann goes, why talk about me on your podcast? To gain popularity because I'm relevant? Heather goes, no, I wouldn't say that's what was happening. Okay, now somebody needs to give Heather credit for what she manages to do next, which is somehow turn this whole thing around. She's now just directly talking to Luann, and she said, I'm really so proud of you for everything you've been through and how you've come out of this. I do hope that sometime we can talk about it. Maybe we can, become deeper friends like we used to be. Luann, yeah. Oh my God, that was masterful. I wrote down in my notes, oh my God, did Heather just book Luann as her next guest on her podcast? I feel like she not only got away with all the crap she said about her, but got her to now agree to kind of open up to her more. Wow. That just wow. Good job, Heather Thompson. Luann is like happy that they cleared the air. Heather's like, me too. Let's make some new memories. Ramona said, you're going to meet Garth tomorrow. Heather said, I look forward to it. I'm excited. Luann, he's like a Viking. And Heather goes, Leah said that tomorrow we're going to be painting a naked man. Is it Garth? Luann, no. You don't have enough paint, Heather. This is a big man. He's 8 feet tall. No, my daughter's an artist, and she and her friend, they came up with the idea for us to paint a nude model. Leah, I wonder if he's a shower or a grower. Ebony, they're all growers, Leah. Ramona's confessional. Really? Leah? I just had one elegant night of breakfast at Tiffany's planned. Do you always have to talk about sex and other stuff? And apparently she does. That is where we end this episode. Guys, they're coming around. Our RHONY girls are pulling it out. This was now the second episode that I fully enjoyed from start to finish. I'm enjoying it. I hope you guys are too. I'm so happy you're here. If you haven't subscribed to my channel before, would you please consider doing so? And if you liked this particular video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, thank you for leaving comments. I love to hear from you guys. And I will see you next time for the next recap of The Real Housewives of New York City. Love you guys. Bye.